Before every NBA season, we have a general sense of where every team and all of their players stand as individuals. We use their prior years of production to form our judgments about them, we analyze how good they could potentially be in the future, and we do our best to keep an eye out for any breakout contenders every year. But yet, without failure, there are always players that pleasantly surprise everybody and break out in a big way more so than expected. This brings us to the topic of today's video, where we'll be discussing 6 players in particular that have been having stellar seasons in their own unique ways, and the ways that they're doing it far exceed what anybody could have seen coming. Before we start though, it turns out about 67% of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so please, if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I would also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first player we'll be discussing that has come out this season and broken out in a big way to this point is Julius Randle of the New York Knicks. Julius Randle's career has been strange to this point, all things considered, because he's always had unbelievable promise and potential. He's even put up some big numbers over the years, but it has never actually impacted winning basketball games in the grand scheme of things, and his playstyle has been deemed detrimental at times as well. So far this season, though, he's come out with a brand new mindset. He's playing better than he ever has before, and most importantly, he's leading the Knicks, who were seen by most as the worst team in the East before the year, to a decent record at the moment with some impressive wins over good teams. Right now, he's averaging a career-high 22 points, he's averaging the 12th most assists per game in the league at 7 per game, and he's grabbing 11 rebounds per game as well, which is good for 9th best in the league. The tunnel vision he used to play with has been reduced a lot, he's making better decisions with the ball in his hands, and all in all, he might finally be reaching a breakthrough towards playing to his full potential. The next player we'll be discussing that has been surprising everyone with their exceptional play so far is Christian Wood of the Houston Rockets. Now, if you've been a subscriber of the channel for a while, you'll know that I personally saw this Wood breakout coming for a while now. But for most in the general NBA audience, his emergence has been unfathomably good. Wood had been a career journeyman prior to this season, and until last year, he wasn't really anything more than a G League All-Star and bench player, but the Pistons finally gave him a chance last year, starting as Andre Drummond's backup, and eventually taking over the starting job late in the season, and in that role, he showed off everything in his arsenal that led to the Rockets going after him in free agency. He's an unbelievable pick-and-roll big man, he has a strong handle for a big man that allows him to create his own offense off the dribble with the mismatches that result from it, his perimeter shooting allows him to space the floor for the team's playmakers, and he's been working very well off of the creation of James Harden and John Wall so far. He's averaging about 23 points and 10 rebounds per game to start this season, and he's more than capable of maintaining that production throughout the entirety of a season. The next player we'll be discussing making a huge impact in an area that would have been unbelievable before the year is Luguentz Dort of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Dort became a cult hero in the bubble last year for his unbelievable defense on James Harden in their playoff series against the Rockets, and then in Game 7, when he scored 30 points and went crazy from 3, his legend grew even more. But overall, he was undeniably a poor shooter of the ball last year, and he was left wide open throughout the entirety of that series for a reason. However, this season, he's carried that momentum over, and not only is he no longer a liability on offense that teams can ignore and leave open, but he's actually been a highly efficient three-point shooter on good volume, making an impressive 44% of his threes while taking 5 attempts from deep per game. He nearly doubled his scoring output, going from 7 points per game last year to 12 points per game this year. His shooting is much improved, he's still that lockdown defender that he showed he could be from last year's playoffs, and overall, he's been playing great. Having been completely undrafted just 2 years ago, his emergence has been a major surprise, and the Thunder get to be the beneficiaries of this emergence. The next player we'll be discussing that has broken out in a way that has far surpassed anybody's expectations for him before the year is Jerami Grant of the Detroit Pistons. Grant, over the last few years, proved to be a highly reliable role player for the Denver Nuggets, as his versatility on defense helped plug up some of the holes left by those around him on that end, and offensively, he's taken huge strides as a shooter and overall playmaker. With this being said, though, most viewed him as a guy who was perfect for the role that he was in previously, and wouldn't actually have been a good go-to guy on a team on his own. But the Pistons stole him away from Denver in free agency, gave him the freedom to play to his fullest, and as a result, not only is he putting up career highs across the board, but he's maintained a highly efficient level of play. The Pistons may not be a very good team, but Grant has been an undeniable bright spot for them so far, averaging 25 points and 6 rebounds per game, while shooting 47% from the field and 38% from 3, and he's definitely been living up to that contract that he received this offseason. The next player surprising a ton of people this year with just how well he's been playing is McCollum of the Portland Trail Blazers. McCollum has been one of the best secondary shot creators and playmakers in the league for a while now, playing alongside Damian Lillard and taking the load off of Dame's shoulders when necessary, because he too can make plays for himself and confidently make shots down the stretch of games. But despite this, he's never been an all-star, and being in Lillard's shadow has resulted in his play getting underrated to a degree. Well, the reason he's on this list in particular right now is because this year he's taken his play to another level, and is actually outscoring teammate Damian Lillard so far this season, putting up 28 points per game compared to Dame's 26. Keep in mind that Lillard is a player that was one of the leading scorers in the entire league last season, so McCollum doing this isn't an indictment of Dame, but rather actually a testament to just how well McCollum himself has been playing so far. And finally, the last player we'll be discussing, surprising everyone with their exceptional play, is Collin Sexton of the Cleveland Cavaliers. If the term underrated applies to anybody in the NBA, it's definitely Collin Sexton, and it's been this way from the very beginning of his career. Coming from a draft class with Trae Young and Luka Doncic, he's been overshadowed from the very beginning, and playing in Cleveland also hasn't helped him get the recognition he deserves. But this year, he's once again elevating his play and is now a strong 25-point scorer that shoots the ball a wildly impressive 51% from the field and 51% from 3 this season. Now, I realize it's a small sample size that should balance out as the year goes on, but in general, he's one of the most slept-on scorers that brings a dynamic attack to the team's offense. With him, the Cavs were playing pretty well, being 500 in the games that he played in, but then unfortunately he got injured, and without him, the team has gone on a 3-game losing streak. Sexton is one of the most promising young scorers in the league right now, and when he gets back, he'll continue to show that. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below anyone else you think has been surprisingly good this year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.